And we're right on top of the news this morning. The supreme leader in Iran told the people to stay off the streets, that it was their responsibility. Now, if there is any violence, he also said that it is time to stop the demonstrations. What happens next? A real expert on that, David Makovsky of the Washington Institute, is with us here today. I would expect you saw no surprise in what the Ayatollah said today.
No surprise at all. He's basically warning the people that there will be a crackdown if they continue, and this is a clear, ominous sign. I think that bad times are ahead.
There's a lot of pressure on the president here in Washington that he should take a stronger line in support of the protesters. This is a very, very delicate situation. Clearly, he does not want this to be seen as something that the United States is instigated, because that would be counterproductive.
Yes, I think that is correct. I think he's taken the proper approach. No one should think this is a made in America idea. It's got very grassroots support. If we're not willing to militarily back them up, also, we tell people rise up, and we, are saying that you have to nullify those elections. It's one thing to say we're watching what's going on. I think that's very appropriate. And I think, I was a little disappointed that he said that there's very little difference between Ahmadinejad and Mousavi, which is not the case. But at the same time, he's trying to draw a distinction between support for the people, but at the same time, not, I think, going over the line in a way that will create a backlash against America. It's a very hard line to draw, but I keep thinking of the 1980s with Ronald Reagan, and by the way, also with the Democrats too, that we were able to somehow do two things. We were able to have a nuclear agenda with the Soviets, and at the same time, we voiced support for human rights. So there's a way of voicing support, but at the same time, we don't say the elections are null and void. I'm calling people in the streets to rise up. I think those steps would be provocative and would blow up in America's faces.
What do you think is going to happen here, David? Are the protesters now going to sit in a corner, or will these protests continue? Where does this go from here?
My expectation, and I could be wrong, is that we'll have fewer people in the streets because the Ayatollah's words will scare a lot. But at the same time, the people that do go to the streets will be more hardcore. I think they know to avoid violence because that could be the trigger for the backlash against them. But at the same time, these people have been, suffering since the end of since the start of the Islamic Revolution, 1979. They feel here is their trigger in a certain way to voice their concerns. I think they hope by keeping the pressure on some level, you're not going to undo the Islamic Revolution, but maybe you could force some sort of accommodation that the Ayatollah would say it's not what they call the rule of the jurist, meaning that he is not the supreme commander. My feeling is this is a regime that has been suffered for its views in a way, and that they are so determined and they can be utterly ruthless. And I fear violence. I hope I'm wrong. Believe me, I pray I'm wrong. But I fear that they're ruthless enough that they will crack down.
At the end of the day, is there going to be a nuclear-armed Iran?
Well, here's where the United States comes in. I feel just like in the 80s, Ronald Reagan did business with the Soviet Union. We got an arms control agreement with the Soviet Union. And I think that whoever's in power, the issue of Iran with nukes is a game changer, in the words of President Obama, for the entire Middle East. Because, look, the Egyptians will want nukes. The Saudis will want nukes. The Turks are going to want nukes. You're going to have the most dangerous region, but with all these nuclear powers. America cannot sit by. So I tend to believe no matter who's in power, we're going to try to see if we can draw that line that they will not be able to so-called break out, have nuclear weapons capability. They may be able to have civil nuclear power, but not nuclear weapons. And I think the United States has to keep its eye on the ball and make sure that Iran is not allowed to get nuclear weapons.
David Makovsky, to be continued, obviously. One of the things that's also going to be on the front burner this summer here in Washington is the confirmation battle over Sonia Sotomayor. She is making rounds on Capitol Hill. She's spending all day, every day, getting to know the senators on the Judiciary Committee. Those hearings will be starting later this summer. People here, the question, of course, is she going to be confirmed? But in a little town called Salem, Virginia, there's another question. Is she going to need a new robe? And here is our digital journalist, Fernando Suarez, with a report on that.
Tucked between railroad tracks in the small town of Salem, Virginia, you'll find Oak Hall Caps and Gowns. It just happens to be the place where the country's most famous judges turn to get their judicial robes. This unassuming factory produces about 2,000 handmade Bentley & Simon judicial robes each year, some taking as long as a month to complete.
We're going to start from beginning to end.
Meet Donna Hodges, Vice President of Marketing and Sales at Oak Hall, who says these days there's just one order everybody is waiting to get.
We are hoping to, again, see the initials SMS.
That's short for Sonia Maria Sotomayor, who's been a customer with Oak Hall since 1998.
So we're hoping that she'll come back for a new J71 when she gets appointed to the bench, but this one is now only 11 years old, so I'm not sure.
The Bentley & Simon robe, or the J71 as it's called in legal circles, costs about $400, coined the Cadillac of robes, with details so intricate, only a few highly skilled seamstresses can actually work on them.
There are only a handful, 10 or 12 employees, that are allowed to work on the Bentley & Simon judicial robes.
Frances Donahue is one of those employees. She's been with Oak Hall for almost 45 years.
Not a single J71 goes out the door without the seal of approval of Frances Donahue. So you can be assured that every Supreme Court justice wearing a Bentley & Simon robe, Frances has touched herself.
Every time I see a robe on TV, I'm looking.
Hodges says the robes are guaranteed for life, making it difficult to attract repeat business. But that hasn't stopped them from trying.
We've gone eco-friendly. This is a fabric made 50% bamboo, 50% recycled plastic bottles.
The new environmentally friendly gown, says Hodges, will be available just in time for the next Supreme Court justice.
She can certainly be one of the first to wear a bamboo plastic bottle gown.
Here in Washington, everybody's focused on whether Judge Sotomayor will become the Supreme Court's 111th justice. But if she's sworn in down in Salem, Virginia, you can be certain all eyes will be on what she's wearing. Fernando Suarez, CBS News, Washington.
Well, it's Father's Day coming up this weekend, and this seems to be a holiday that Barack Obama takes very seriously. In fact, candidate Obama last Father's Day really laid it on the line, telling African-American fathers especially they needed to take responsibility for children. Let's look at a little of what he said.
But if we're honest with ourselves, we'll admit that too many fathers are also missing. Too many fathers are MIA. Too many fathers are AWOL. Missing from too many lives and too many homes. They've abandoned their responsibilities. They're acting like boys instead of men.
So that was Barack Obama last Father's Day. Let's call in Bill Plant over at the White House now. Well, Bill, what's in store for this Father's Day? Is Barack Obama backing off? Because as we know, he got a little criticism from some quarters for that speech he made last Father's Day.
Well, Bob, I have to tell you, he's not backing off at all. In fact, he has a piece in Parade magazine, which will go around the country in Sunday newspapers this Sunday, talking about fatherhood and its obligations, and it's really apparent from this piece that he has written that Father's Day remains intensely personal for Barack Obama, because he makes a point in this piece, and I'm looking at it right now. He says he came to understand the importance of fatherhood through its absence, because he didn't have one after he was 2 years old. And now he says that the fact that he grew up without a father in his own life has shaped his view of what fatherhood should be. He talks all the time about being with his children and sharing their experiences. And we know, Bob, that he almost every weekend, there's a Suburban that pulls out of here and goes up to one of the children's schools for, say, a soccer game, just like any other parent.
Well, that's just great. And, you know, as if to underline that nothing the president says is going to please everyone, we had an incident at the White House this week, and hang on with me for a minute, Bill, because we're going to roll some tape of this. Really the picture of the week when he was being interviewed by John Harwood of NBC. A fly flies up, and the President of the United States did what anyone would do. He swatted the fly and then kicked the carcass off. But one of the animal rights groups said he should have trapped the fly. I'm not sure I know what a fly trap is or how you go about doing that, but there was some sort of a catch and release, I guess, that they advocated. But there are flies in the White House, are there not, Bill?
Well, there are, and we did a little investigative reporting on this, Bob, and we asked why there would be flies in the White House. After all, it's pretty well maintained, your tax dollars at work. And we were told that, well, people leave the windows open and they don't have screens on them. So the flies are going to come in. And do you know that they give the staff fly swatters? Old-fashioned fly swatters.
So we're going for the old-fashioned route to get rid of flies rather than the catch and release program, as it were, that some of these animal rights groups are advocating. Well, Bill Plant, thank you very much for bringing us up to date on not only Father's Day, but your work on the investigative front. We're glad to have you, and thanks for being with us this morning. And I'd like to invite you and everyone else to be sure and watch Face the Nation this Sunday, when our guest will be another father, John McCain.